Hello, everyone. Your Glimmergang editor Blake here with a snippet from our latest podcast. So, without further ado, everyone, take it away.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Glimmergang podcast. We are back with a little smaller of a crowd, but we're going to talk Lorcana week now. And since this is Eric's baby, this is his creation, he dubbed this week. Eric, why don't you talk about this? How did this come about? Where did the idea come from? Just give us the rundown.
Sure, man. Well, I mean, I think the main thing that people probably want to hear about is how hard I crushed it in day one of the starter deck challenge. Let's go. Adam, you got to get up pretty early if you want to take down old Eric. Yeah, Lorcana Week. I'm sure everybody's watching knows. Everybody here knows we're doing this thing. We've been working on it for a really long time, like really, really long time. Even before I shot all that stuff with Ryan. So, like, if you guys saw that Rapunzel card reveal with Ryan, that was when we shot that. I mean, that video, that card reveal was a week after we shot that stuff, and that was, I don't know, 8 weeks ago or something at that point. And we had been talking about Lorcana Week before that. So it's just like a huge effort. And, you know, if you don't like read every single thing, I get it. But you probably don't know how much work goes into something like this. But we have a really big team and a lot of people involved. And no one else wants to or is trying to do something like this for Lorcana. So it's just like a way for us to be like, hey, we're the video game website that's gonna be, you know, the main Lorcana website. Like we want the authority. We want everybody to know, like, the gamer and Lorcana go together. That's what we're trying to pull off.
Awesome.
I know. So Lorcana Week has probably been in the works for a few months now, but way before that, we've spoken. You said that you really wanted to be that sort of that knowledge base for Lorcana.
The hub.
How early did that idea come about in the sort of public life of Lorcana?
Yeah, I think that there was a spark of that idea in my mind when I was at D23 interviewing Ryan. Because I mean, we had only heard about the game like a week or 5 days before.
It was a handful of days, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I got an email from Ravensburger asking if I was going to be there, and I wasn't. And I was like, "Oh no, sorry." And then I was just sitting at my desk for like 10 minutes later, like, "Wait, I should be there." This is like a huge opportunity. So I figured it out. It was like 2 days before D23. I figured out how to get in and met up with them there. And I didn't even have equipment. I just had my phone, and I just like held it up to Ryan's face, and I was like, "Tell me about your card game."
So that's interesting that Ravensburger actually emailed you in the first place. I assume not only you. At that point.
We had already done like villainous reviews, and like I had a little bit of a relationship with them, but not.
But I imagine that was like a net being cast to game
to press.
to game press.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because I wasn't really expecting that, actually, and I imagine that before that email, D23 is not something that's on a video game press radar, really, is it? Like, does stuff get revealed there for games?
So this year was huge for games. They had a game panel and they revealed like 8 different games. Amy Hennig's like Captain America Black Panther game was revealed there. Marvel World of Heroes was reviewed before they canceled it a couple weeks ago.
How about that the Disney
Illusion
racing car game? Was that there?
It wasn't revealed, but it was. They had like a trailer for it there. Yeah, so it was like a really big year for games, and it was one of the hardest things I've had to do in my career because I showed up and they gave me all these interview slots, like just times, and I was like, okay, I just have times. Who am I interviewing? And they're like, well, you'll find out after the panel. And the interview started after the panel, like right then. So I
wow.
walked into a room and they said, for the next 2 hours, you're going to interview whoever we bring in front of your face. So
So is it like it's like a speed date thing? Is it like is
Yeah.
all the journalists sat around the outside and then
no,
the
They put me in a cubicle and
yeah.
they just brought in Ben Brode. And then they just brought in the Firaxis guys that did Marvel, the turn-based one, Midnight Suns. And they just brought the guy from Delilah that directed Illusion Island. And just for like 2 hours, they were just like, here's Ben Brode, ask him questions.
But all of that was set up after you decided to go based on Ravensburger's email.
Yes, less than 2 days before
crazy.
D23 started, all that got set up. Yeah.
That blows my mind, and it also blows my mind that you were the stationary half of those partnerships, and they didn't, and they didn't drag you around. I totally thought it would have been that way around.
Yeah, that was the one nice part.
Grab your Zoom and come with me.
Yeah, I got to have a little home. So, Lorcana had a booth, and I just like finessed my way in early. I was just like, oh, I have a meeting, or there was a guy with a big camera, and I was like, I'm with that guy, and I just followed him in, and I got up to the booth, and I like met Ryan, met a bunch of the Ravensburger people there, and I was like, can we do an interview right now? And just like came up with some questions, and from that was sort of like the seed of like, okay, if I can take Lorcana seriously, because I immediately loved it. The second I saw those 6 cards, those 7 cards, I was like, yeah, this is a game. I'm doing this. And I just like was so tenacious with their PR. Just like every little piece of news or anything that came out, I was emailing them, hey, can I get a quote on that? Hey, can I ask some questions about that? Just like on them about everything. And eventually they got really sick of telling me no, I guess.
Wow. So are we finding out that Eric is Eric's what made Cassidy leave? Is that what? Just done with
I
DD.
never met Cassidy. I don't know anything about that.
Well, I think the awesome thing is like, this was like your baby and your idea, but then Ravensburger themselves actually latched onto it.
Right.
Because I mean, there was like I forget what the YouTube channel was, but they got interviews at the UK Games Expo in June, and Ravensburger told them to wait until Lorcana Week.
Yep.
And I just think that's so awesome.
Yeah, and it was another thing that started. Thank you. It was another thing that started with the whole thing with Ryan, because I was like, hey, so before I was in game journalism, I was a filmmaker. I live in LA. And so I have a lot of connections to studios and equipment and crew. And I was like, if you can get Ryan out here, I can get a studio, I can hire a crew, we can make some videos. And that, I think, put the idea in their minds, like, oh, well, if we are going to do that with the gamer, who else can we do that with? And so that's why, Comic Book was doing videos, and IGN had a reveal that whole week when we all the press had reveals. That was when Ryan was traveling around to all the different sites. And I'm that started with like me just going, please bring Brian to me, please, we'll figure this out. Get him to LA.
You have the benefit in LA of being near those other offices as well, right? Like it's one trip for Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. They went to IGN in the morning and then came to my studio in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I just really want to know what they gave the LA Times.
Hey, are we waiting for something from them always?
I don't think so.
Oh.
We know he went there and interviewed with them.
Well,
about the lawsuit, maybe.
So he went there and he gave him a card to reveal.
Yeah.
But nobody's under any obligation to.
Yeah, that's fair.
To like cover just because like he came by,
Yeah.
Because like IGN, they did a card reveal, and they did their review of the starter decks. But I think for now that's going to be it for them.
That's fair.
So that was the LA Times was Sven that got lost in the ether.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow! Imagine going to the LA Times and all you get is a tweet without a hashtag on it.
Oh, that's rough.
All right, so
that nobody sees.
yeah. So Eric, I just want one final question before we do move on to Gen Con. Lorcana Week is about halfway done by now. Correct?
Yeah, we're going to Sunday.
Yeah. So we still got 4 more days. We've had 3 days of reveals. We've gotten the app. We've gotten the full set. We've got a bunch of stories. We have the starter deck lists. How has it been so far, releasing all this stuff and seeing the community be able to have this information now? Because I'm guessing you've been waiting a long time to reveal all this.
Yeah, man, a long time. I mean, I liken it to like what Ryan says about like working on this game for so long and finally letting people see it. You know, I have that to a much smaller degree, that I got to find out all this stuff about the game, and then I finally get to share what I know with everybody. And everybody's been so cool, man. I love this community because I like people, you know, give me credit, share my stuff. Like people are like, "Yo, the gamer did this." Like you don't get that. You don't get that from other press. Like other press will just take what you did and be like, "We did this." It's incredible the way it's incredible the way this community and like Artem, like the Lorcania team and Mushu, and like we are all collaborating. We're all like trying to help each other. It's a super unique community to be in.
Awesome.
I remember talking to Artem super early on. Like the Lorcania was a page with the 7 cards that we knew on it, right?
Right.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this and I'm working on that, and I think I'm going to try and build it into a database." And he was really like on the fence about it all, and was like, "Oh, I might, you know, it's a lot of hours." And I remember saying to him like, "This can be something like in a big way. Like you could be the go-to site, right? You could be you could be channel viable for Lorcana, and like they're there, right? Like it's obviously it's a smaller scale at the moment, but you ask like where'd you go when you want to find something? You go to Lorcana, you go to Mushu Report, you go to Dreamborn, right? These 3 or 4 people who are all doing it. You know, on their free time, that you know, these are pro developers who are doing 8-hour days and then coming home and sitting and doing more of this stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like they're
amazing.
smashing it out of the park, man. They're absolutely destroying it. It's insane.
It's amazing to see.
Thank you for watching this snippet from our latest podcast. If you enjoyed that, please be sure to check out the full episode, and be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any further updates from the Glimmer Gang. Thank you for being a fantastic part of our community, and until next time, Glimmer on.